go live. Uh, come on. All right, hold on to your butts.
I don't know if my hands are big enough to hold on to my.
It's a good problem to
Lot of,
have, though. Good problem to have.
a lot of booty to grab hold of. The fact that the heat is on April 29th, 26th,
I
bothers me.
know.
Why do we still need the heat on? Like,
Okay,
can I just?
we're
Oh,
kind of moving. I'm looking at the stream right now, and it looks like we're moving.
Okay.
yay!
All right.
That's usually a good sign.
Yeah. Usually. Let's hope it
Usually.
stay that way. Usually. Let's hope that motherfucker stay that way. Oh, we probably just had a little bit of a lag. Yeah, it seems. There's something else though. Hold on. Let me get back into our live real quick. Sorry. All
You're
right. So
good.
it looks. All right. Yeah, we moving. It's
We moving.
yeah, we doing it. It's just a slight lag, but that's okay, and we expect that. All right. So I think we could probably start the interview.
Absolutely.
Y'all,
Absolutely. Well, everyone, thank you for being here with
yeah,
us.
thank you for being here. Sorry about those technical difficulties at the beginning. Technology is getting on our goddamn nerves. But yeah. So this is our interview, y'all. Glad y'all could make it. The few that are making it, that are watching.
Oh, I just checked. It's packed.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Full house.
Well, full house, full house. But luckily, we'll be able to put this on our page too, so we get more views and eyes on. I'm Ben,
I'm Ian.
and it's too many of you for the lovely folks who produced, directed, shot the series and the pilot of Spokes, which is an awesome project. Happy to have with us David Johnson, who I know and love and respect, and also Carla Stillwell, who I also know well and love and also respect. And these two wonderful individuals. Be glad to have them here, y'all.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, we can't wait for y'all to learn more about this project. So we gonna get it kicking off right now. If I can find my notes. All right, we're gonna introduce these artists real quick. You guys, can y'all tell us a little bit of something in the views about something about where y'all from and how y'all got here? And yeah, let's start off with that.
Well, I'm a man from the South, so I always believe ladies first.
There you go.
Hun, I'm a lady from the north that really doesn't like to go. So here you go, Dave. You first.
Well, I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I moved here to Chicago back in the early 90s because the theater opportunities were much bigger here in Chicago than down there in St. Louis. Um, I had done theater all through high school, all through college, graduated from college, went to the St. Louis Black Repertory Theater Company where I worked there as an intern for a couple of years. I said 92, but it was actually 94. In 94, I moved to Chicago where I worked in the theater scene for a while. And then ultimately ended up starting my own film production company back in 1998, where we shot our first film, which was picked up for international and domestic distribution. Um, Name changed a couple times. We started off with Showcase Productions, then we moved to Showcase Entertainment Inc., which was way too long for a URL. So I ended up changing it to SCI Studios, which is what we currently are now. We specialize in short films, full features, music videos, commercials, industrials, things of that sort. Carla and I have known each other through the arts in the industry for over 20 years now. We had the opportunity to work together for the first time. This was maybe about 4 years ago. It's about 4 years ago.
Something
That
like that.
we worked on the short film Bloodlines, which featured my man here.
That's right.
Dan was in Bloodlines.
uh,
And this is our second collaboration together working on Spokes, which deals in the area of human trafficking. So I've been doing this for over 20 years as far as the filmmaking in, the arts in. Again, started off as a professional actor, model, and then moved over into film production. And we are here now. We're extremely excited about Spokes. But I'm gonna let Carla talk about herself before we start talking about Spokes. Now the ball's in your court.
Right.
Damn it. Hello, my name is Carla Stillwell. I am a Chicago native, born and raised on the South Side. I have been in theater since I was 10 years old. I got my first check when I was about 10 as an actor. And went to Columbia College, music, was an actor, director, playwright, many years. Was the artistic director for Impacts Theater here, the Mob Production Association of Africans in the Theater, is where I acquired a bin. That's where I received my bin.
Yes, first round draft pick. Yes.
Yes, it was.
Right.
And after I got a bin and some other children, I decided I'd had enough of that shit. So I left. And I've won some awards and done some stuff artistically. So I was kind of over theater. Then I decided I would start a nonprofit, Stillwell Institute for Contemporary Black Art, where I take money from white people and give it to Black artists just to make art, because that shit's cool. And in the process of like Peter Panning for Black art, Dave and I had worked together. We've known each other for 1,000 years. We worked together on our first project, and when I was working at a particular art space, and I was like, David Johnson, come look at this space. I know you're gonna write something. So he did, and we collaborated on shows. And here we are. And he does speak for both of us when he says we are excited about this project.
Yes,
We're really excited.
As you should be. It looks absolutely awesome. I was wondering if you might be able to tell us a little bit about your project, Spokes, the series, the reasons why you felt like this story needed to be told, and just sort of what we can expect from it.
Well, Spokes has manifested itself into a couple different things. It started out initially as it was supposed to be a short film. Again,
and I told him that was ridiculous.
Carla tells me a lot of my stuff is ridiculous, but we'll come back.
Okay, keep talking.
But Carla initially, she approached me with this idea. She did have this opportunity. She had a great space. Anybody who makes films understand that, outside of the screenplay, which is the blueprint for everything, your locations is everything. And she had an amazing location. She did not have a story. She just had a great place for us to shoot. And like she mentioned, as soon as I took a look at it, I was like, you're absolutely right. We need to be shooting something here. But the initial thought was to do a 5 to 10 minute short film. We weren't sure what it was about, what it was going to be. I specialize in horror. That is my genre, horror thrillers. And so it was going to be something in that space. And I mean, it's perfect, especially if you're a low budget independent filmmaker. Horror does not require a whole lot of big names, whole lot of, it's really easier as a genre to do. But once we realized what the story was about, which for me came out of seeing so many reports on social media almost every day for a while, I would go through social media and there were reports about children that were missing, or another child that they were looking for, or human trafficking was popping up in my timeline so much that I started looking into it. And the more I looked into it, the more frightening it became. And as someone who does horror, I was like, this is ripe for someone to do material on. So I kind of married the two. I married the location that Carla was making available to me and this idea of human trafficking. And that kind of became the formation for what became Spokes. In the African-American culture, it's funny. It's so funny. During this time, I've had so much opportunity to watch Netflix and Amazon Prime and everything else, right? Just like everybody else who is stuck in the house right now. And Netflix is currently running a series on the Atlanta child murders, which is so interesting. My wife is actually only about 6 years younger than me, but she didn't know what I was talking about when I talked about the Atlanta child murders. And if your audience is not aware of it, during the 80s down in Atlanta, there were a series of children over, I think, what was a period of a decade, but definitely for a couple of years. Little black boys in particular were coming.
It was 10 years.
It was 10 years, over a 10-year period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids were coming up missing. When they would find their bodies, finding their missing. They had been sexually molested, all of these things. So 5-season series, the way I see it in my head, and the first season is very, very black. It's the blackest of all the seasons because it is going to deal very specifically with the side of Chicago and how in our communities we have been dealing with human trafficking before it got that nice fancy name. You know, whether you want to go all the way back to slavery or you want to bring it up to current times, they're still snatching children up. Now, it's not, now that one thing I want to be very clear about is this is not a racially motivated thing. Human trafficking affects humans. That's why they call it human trafficking, right? Mm-hmm. But in our community, there is a certain connotation. There's a certain thing that comes with us being snatched and not only not being found, but not even really investigated or really being looked for. That is something that is very familiar to the Black.
Well, and I think that's the biggest point about the point of view of the piece is that Black women, and right now in Chicago, there's actually a serial killer around. Black women and Black trans women specifically have been found dead all over the city. And Lori Lightfoot being trans women that are missing. Mm-hmm. Like, I think it might be more than that at this point. So it's a real tangible thing. And, you know, anybody that grew up Black knows that one of the reasons you didn't go to white parties, wake up with your, like, that's been oak. Mm-hmm. When Black folks send their kids to college, you know, you don't go running around, hanging around with the white folks. You get drunk and wake up and get like that is the thing.
And part of that ain't even them being nefarious. Part of that's just because we crazy. We just do a stupid ass dare. That's all. That's just part of it.
Yeah, like we can put him to bed and take his kid. These are like jokes in our community, but it's really not funny because it's real. It happened. You know, we know now during this Corona situation, there's like, oh, let's go to Africa. They have low cases, so let's go to Africa and test the Corona vaccinations on Africans. What?
Right.
So
yeah, that's wild.
Huh? Uh-huh. So the piece when he wrote the script.
that's the overarching theme of this show is greed. What human beings are capable of doing to each other. Dollar.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, most definitely.
So we're going to try to tackle as huge as we want the show to be huge thematically. We want it to deal with big, heavy issues. Absolutely. But it's going to be told through this venue of human trafficking.
All right. With that, while y'all were crafting this beautiful work and trying to put on notice of these issues, definitely in the Black community, were there any unexpected difficulties during the production of this film? Did y'all experience something like maybe this scene was just taking too long, was needed, or
how's about this wonderful location that Carla had sold me on to go ahead and get this project started in the first place? We almost were filming.
Oh, okay.
How's about we ran out of funding in the third week of a 5-week shoot? How's about there was miscommunication on set that caused this huge scene that I needed about 20 extras for. Those extras went home during lunch break. They didn't realize that I needed them afterwards. And I sit down rewriting the whole scene.
We had to rewrite a scene in 32 minutes.
Oh, and it's crucial. It's a crucial, right?
Of course. Isn't that the way it goes?
We rewrote that shit, though. How about the unfortunate heater incident of 2019?
Yes. Some genius, I'm raising my hand. Some genius decided he wanted to shoot a movie in October through the first week of Chicago. Some genius wanted to do that.
Okay.
And wanted to shoot outside. It was a night shoot from 7 o'clock at night till 3 o'clock in the morning. It's 37 degrees outside. So I go to Home Depot to get this huge jet-powered thing, this gas-powered thing, and heat the entire area. You fire it up, 30 seconds later, the whole thing goes down. and it turned back on. So we're out there trying to shoot a scene. It was supposed to start inside this building and come outside this building. So nobody's wearing coats inside. So you can't be wearing coats outside the building. So they're standing outside 12 o'clock at night with nothing but a t-shirt and some sweatpants, 36 degrees, and they're supposed to look sad and downtrodden. Keep your emotional face. Instead of looking like
pissed and cold. Did you get the shot? Did you get it?
I
almost quit. The actors and the crew are the only reason we got that shot. I almost seen, and it was going to be about 4 minutes shorter than what it ultimately turned out to be. All right off into the sunset. The movie's going to end right there. It was too cold. It was too damn cold out there.
Oh, there were unfortunate incidents.
Yes, there was that. Again, raise your hand.
I personally tripped over mops on my back porch and busted my face open. So,
and then ran around and told everybody you and I had a disagreement. I hit you.
I did not tell people you beat me. Lie from the pit of hell. If they assumed you beat me, then I didn't say yay or nay, but I'm nobody else.
Anybody who understands the producer-director relationship knows the whip of the director. You don't get to crack it on the producer.
Oh my God.
This was the craziest 5 fucking weeks of our life.
It sounds incredibly eventful, like insanely so. Which is why I gotta ask. Yeah, go ahead.
When I tell you that we had a crew and a cast that was so dedicated and so excited and believe 1 minute of that foolishness, I'd do it all again.
That's real.
That's the sign of a beautiful process.
Because I think me and Dave learned a lot.
So that's actually what I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask, in this chaotic 5 week where you had so many different wrenches being thrown at you and into the works, what was one or a few of like your biggest takeaways, your biggest that you were able to like take from this process?
I'm gonna tell you, for me, one thing that I definitely learned, you don't need to make this thing happen. What you need is a core group of very, very dedicated. And even if those people aren't necessarily 100% experienced in their field, dedication alone will get you past. I'll give you a great example. There was a young lady in our crew who was initially hired to work craft. Her whole job was to distribute oatmeal and juices and stuff over lunch. Whole job. By the time we finished and by the time we got to editing, I changed her title from craft service associate producer because she had done so much in making sure that production happened. The Carla talked about the unfortunate incident of 2019. That was me, 100%, right? Because some of our call times were 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes. And then sometimes we were at 8, 9 o'clock at night. Well, if you're the producer, director, cinematographer, blah, 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 then when you wrap your days, you're putting up equipment, you're resetting stuff to get ready for the. So anyway, long story short, I'm not going to bed sometimes till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, turning around and jumping back up at 5 in the morning that morning. Okay. So I'm late. And when I say I'm late, I mean I'm 2.5 hours late. This girl who was supposed to be doing craft services stepped up, made sure that we got into the building, made sure that the actors were prepped, that the costumes were put together, made sure that the food was set out there, made sure call times were still being monitored. All the while, everyone's on the phone trying to figure out where Dave Johnson is, right? But she had everything set to the point that when I did finally wake my ass up and show up on set, we were ready to go. That's what I'm talking about. You don't need an army situation like that. You need somebody who understands the care and concern that needs to go in making a film and is dedicated enough to it that they're going to step outside of their realm to make sure things get happen. That's what I learned from it. Your title means nothing. Ultimately, at the end of the day, for myself, I keep that as a mantra anyway. I don't walk around, I'm the producer, director, you must this, that. No, it's a collaborative project. Everybody, we're on an even playing field trying to get this thing done. But for a lot of people, they can get caught up in their title. And I'm the costumer, so I shouldn't go. Even if I see an obvious problem that needs to be corrected, I'm not going to go over there because I'm the costumer. Cheryl didn't do that. Cheryl saw things that needed to be corrected and she made it done. And because of that, it things like that, not only from her, but from the additional members of the crew. We were able to work with a skeleton crew, young kids. I mean, young kids. The median age for my crew was right around 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking kids out here handling professional. The lens I was using was $8,500. So, I mean, I'm handing this over. He by the end of the shoot, I mean, they had so much knowledge. I had so much. It's a wonderful thing. If I have anything, I would say that get you folks that are dedicated to the project. Get them to buy into your vision. They will break their backs for you.
And I'm a theater person,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been producing theater for years. And this was my first foray as a producer in the film television kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
And what I learned is that really creating is all the same. A film set is just like but Chicago's just a really interesting theater town. It's interesting acting at this point.
Yeah.
So many people have been here in relative obscurity for so long that they really worked on their craft. So it's not when you know where the actors are to pick up the phone and be like, come do this really great shit. Like, just come do it. Because I said so. Because I wrote it. Come do it. Yeah. There's so much talent. And one of the things I said to David, and take it or leave it. If they're available for mostly, they're probably not being cast.
Yeah. That's some wisdom right there. That's some insight.
Like when you should and this is just as a producer or director, you should have your ear to the ground of who's working, because that's who you want to work for you. You want to catch them at a time. You want them to feel like they need to make space for you, because the people that are working, there should be, and that probably aren't right for you.
Now, and I was going to say, because again, I had stopped acting professionally back in '98. I don't have those contacts, but Carla, because this is her field, this is what she's been doing all the way up until we shot spokes. Until now, right?
So many phone calls from her, just like, Ben, what you doing? I'm like, I ain't doing shit right now.
Hey, you remember one thing, sir? SEI Studios hired you. That's all I can say.
Better bring your ass. I'm like, okay.
He's about to be a piece of chocolate on a video children's show. So
yeah,
because I will pick up Ben knows for a fact I will pick up a phone.
Right. Yeah.
You won't come to this. But the other reason it's easy to do that, your reputation is intact. Dave has an excellent reputation, and it is not hard for to come and work with. And I like to think my reputation is. So when you have the crown of your project, you also have to be conscious of how you treat people. And because actors, especially Black actors, have a lot of power because it's only a handful that are really getting cast and really getting work, and they're all amazing. So you always want to be careful about how you treat people. You are the producer director, so that people want to come back.
Right.
And the other thing is, as big as Chicago is, the arts community is not that large.
It is T90.
We all know each other.
Itty bitty.
You burn one production company. It's not going to take long.
Yeah. Oh no, because I tell people all the time. Ben knows this about me. I tell people I don't fuck with them, and you shouldn't either.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You fuck with me, I will make him tell the world that you trash. But like that motherfucker right there is a whole hefty bag of trash. Don't hire him.
Speaking about the process, y'all. So when it comes to editing, how's that process been going? I know he's probably still in, maybe post is finished, but if it's not, has it been longer than anticipated? Has it been easier for y'all to piece these things together? y'all expound a little bit upon editing
That,
for.
that's not a y'all. That's a Dave.
That's a Dave. Oh,
Don't get confused.
right. Yeah.
She goes and gets money and resources. She does not.
Right.
That's not her.
Right.
I am the quintessential when they talk about independent filmmaker, really talking about somebody who wears like multi-tiered hats, right? You do a lot of different things when you're an independent filmmaker. For me, one of the things that I do is I edit all of my stuff. So we wrapped the first weekend of November. I think I sucked all the information into the computer, and then I kind of left it alone for a second. Then I picked it back up. I want to say I got the rough cut done by about. I want to hit the top 5 cities in the United States for human trafficking, which, as it stands right now, is Illinois, Florida, Texas, and I forgot what the other 2 were. But I wanted to take it on a run in those cities. So that in addition to talking about the project, talking about what it is that we were trying to do, trying to secure financing because I paid for the pilot, but the initial series still needs to be taken care of, as well as the series moving forward. But COVID-19 has set all of that on the shelf.
Sure.
Fine, because during this time, while I'm resetting, it's also giving me time to kind of get my creative juices together, go back so that I can complete Spokes. Carla and I are already talking projects, so that's where Spokes is right now. Long story short, it is one of the victims of COVID-19. The damn
Right.
Yeah.
where is the money? In this particular instance, folks currently with post-production and everything is sitting close 20G, close to. That is all 100% say, okay, no, we want additional seasons. That's kind of the way that works. Now, because I recognize that there's a really good chance I could complete mine, nobody wants to step in and give me season 2. I'm kind of attacking mine the same way that Stranger Things attacked theirs. Stranger Things made a season 1, not even knowing if a season 2 was ever going to be picked up. And so they put a button on it. They went on ahead and ended season 1, but they left the door open for you to move on information. And that's how we're going to attack Spokes. Spokes is going to have a button on it at the end of that season. If they want to walk away from it and say, no, we don't want to give you anything more than that, people have gotten a complete story.
Sure.
But it's going to end in a way such that you know, man, I'd like to know more. And if you do, there are more seasons that are available.
Right. For both of y'all, how many seasons, if it were to get picked up, how many seasons do you think will be?
It's 5.
It's 5.
It's 5. Yep. And I mean, it's 5. So I don't care how well, the end of season 5, that's it. There will be no season 6.
Dave and I really did sit down and talk that through. We're like, it's 5 seasons. We have the beginning, the middle, and the end journey. It's nothing past. Because anything other than that turns into Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah. 2025 seasons.
Like mugs ain't even. It's so much television available nowadays. Nobody's even sticking with no show for like 50 seasons. Like, who does that?
True.
Yeah.
Nobody, because it's been 5 seasons and you told everybody's like, and enough. Move on. Let's move on.
And I'm gonna tell you this: I don't want to make the Game of Thrones mistake.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to start something and not know how it's going to end. I need to know for myself what is the end of this story.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody will be saying, "I love me some Spokes seasons 1 through 4," but when they got to damn,
what happened?
Right.
Real quick. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's a mistake a lot of writers make when they create the show, because after you create it, then there's a writer's room, right? And there are other people who you're dealing with their interpretation of your vision. So what you have to be clear about as the creator is what the whole vision is. So the writers are not making up shit, just making their own choices about, because that's what happened to Game of. Like, the creator did not put a button on it, and then this stupid ass showrunner made all these decisions, and then the dragon burned everything. The end.
Right. For real.
Like,
right.
You know, like, what's her name dies and gets trapped in the castle.
Right.
What? No.
Let's say after everything you've done all this time, that's it. Get some breaks.
Like,
That's
I ain't getting somebody should have been at the luxury of it all.
For real.
It's just like this, so we really did. Like, while we were shooting, we sat in the car and went, how does this end? How does it end? Character are we tracking? And how do they end in 5 seasons?
How many episodes will be in a season, do y'all think, too?
I see 8 to 10 episodes per season.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Running at about like 30, 35 minutes?
Nah, full 1 hour episodes.
1 hour?
Yeah.
Nice.
12 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, like, that's another thing. Like, who's watching 15 seasons of anything? Yeah, I mean, episodes. 26 episodes doing.
Yeah.
So get in and out. Like, it's storytelling has become more judicious, which I like.
Right.
Get out, quick about it, give us the information, and engage us, give us somebody to care about, and keep it moving. More than 10 episodes.
Right. Seriously, yeah. Okay. Also, before we wrap up here, y'all, you mentioned David Fincher, but are there any other artists or filmmakers that y'all drew inspiration from? Putting this together, co-producing and everything?
Me, again, I think I mentioned earlier, I'm 50, so I'm, I'm of that 70s baby generation. But all of my directors are older. I'm a huge Brian De Palma fan. Musically, I look at John Carpenter.
Nice.
I like I said, Fincher is the closest thing to a Renaissance director to me. I love his vision, the way he sets scenes together. But probably that trifecta there is what was sitting on me. That, and again, the series of The Wire and the way that was constructed. Between those four forces, that's pretty.
Carla, anything for you?
Honestly, artistically, I've never been inspired by anything literature, which is weird because I don't like plays.
Right.
I was in theater for so long, but I hate plays. But my storytelling is inspired by Dean Koontz and Anne Rice and Toni Morrison and Al Walker and Octavia Butler. So that is those are the books that made me think about what and growing up I was an avid reader. Way more than I watched television or film. And like in this time we're living in now, I love a good 1984 is an amazing.
Yes, it is.
So those are the things that be artistic mostly. And now I really like Jordan. I just like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what he's doing. I like.
He's a smart man.
Makes some strong choices. Yeah. Ian, you have any further questions, my man?
No. Got my notes, but this has just been a joy overall.
Yeah,
Thank you all for sitting down.
So much knowledge
with us. Yeah.
I can say that if you don't mind me leaving you with a little something, Spokes is looking to be completed sometime before this COVID-19 is completed. And I would love to be able to come back on the show if I can, as we get closer to a release date, because this is going to be one of those ones where I'm going to want to make sure as many people as possible get eyes on it. Absolutely. And this isn't really from a selfish artistic standpoint. Of course you want everybody to see your stuff, but I think it's really discussing this, and that it's no longer just hyperbole and something that we just kind of talk about amongst each other, but that this is a very real thing. From a community level, there's got to be something that we can start doing on our end. So much money involved with this. There's so much money involved with it that it becomes very, very difficult and overwhelming to kind of figure out what can I do, but word out as much as possible.
And one of the things we can do for anybody that's listening is lobby to legalize prostitution.
Make sex work like legal.
Unionize it. Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because that's anything that is done in can be corrupted.
Yep.
And so prostitution should be legal.
That's it. 100%.
Word.
Word Dookie.
Before we sign off, y'all, tell the folks what projects y'all might be having coming up soon, where they can find you on the social media, good stuff. We can start off with Carla and we work our way to Dave.
Oh, I have all kinds of crazy shit going on online.
Yes.
You can Facebook and you type Stillwell. About 20 things of mine will show. One, Stillwell Institute for Contemporary Black Art, which we will be producing our virtual performance of When Good Broccoli Goes Bad.
Yes.
On May 5th for the kids. And your co-host Ben there will be singing the character of Chocolate.
Oh, hell yeah.
So that's a lot of fun. I also have my own little podcasty newsy show, the Newsreel, REAL, Carla Stillwell. So I'm so Newsreel with Carla, all the medias, the Stillwell Institute for Contemporary Black Artists. And you can follow me on all the Twittergrams at Stillwell or Ms. Stillwell. And I cut up. So come be entertained.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Well, the completion of